Intellectual stew. Intellectual stew with James Kirkland.
Powerful and provocative. Prophetic and practical.
Intellectual stew.
Informative and inspirational. How you gonna do better if you don't know what better looks like? I do.
Intellectual stew.
Come on, let's talk about it with me, the mind massager.
Intellectual stew with James Kirkland. Intellectual stew. Intellectual stew with James Kirkland.
What's up? What it do? Time for another episode of the Intellectual Stew with yours truly, James Kirkland. And we're getting ready for a little thought therapy as I await for my special guest to join me. If you can hear me, will you talk back to me? Drop a 1 in the chat or let me know where you're listening from. Let me make sure I got my sound on and let me turn my music off. There it is. Boom, it's off. All right, so talk to me. What's up? Are y'all there? Getting ready for another episode of the Intellectual Stew. What's up, Kiki, on this another night of the Intellectual Stew with Thought Therapy? Hey, those of you that says Facebook user, do me a favor, back out and let it allow you to show your name so that way I can communicate with you. If I see your name, then I can communicate with you. But we're getting ready for another episode or another rendition of Thought Therapy with James and the fellas. And I got at least one guest so far. I'm hoping I'll have some more come on as the night progresses. But tonight we're going to answer a question that I often ask in my introduction. And what the question how it's simply worded is, how do you do better when you don't know what better looks like? How do you do better if you don't know what better looks like? Who is that from Houston, Texas? Let me know, because I like to talk to my people. I like to talk to you so we can carry a conversation. And do me a favor as well, if you will. When you share this thread, I'm going to go ahead and bring my next guest, my guest in as they appear. And I have one. He looks like he's walking around. What's going on, Marion?
I'm just trying to find that right background.
Man, I know you're.
It is what it is.
Look, I know you are a perfectionist, so I know you're trying to find the right background. I get it.
Trying to find that right background, but you know what? It is what it is. So what are you thinking about when you're talking about doing better? What? Because we're gonna get everybody has a concept.
Listen, you run your dealership. You don't run this show. We finna have some small talk first. We get ready to have some small talk first. How was your day, sir? How was your day? look, y'all. Marion is straight business. He's like, man, I ain't got time for small talk. We're going to pop into this conversation.
Yeah, man.
Like, no, we're going to handle this. Oh, what's up, Kevin Houston? Hey, Kevin Jordan, how you doing, man? Good. Yeah, if you're in the group, before you actually click on the video, if you look there, it'll say give authorization to give your name or something like that. Click on that if you will, and that way I can see all your comments, and I think we can see your face and all those types of things. But come on, Marion, how you doing, man? How was your day?
Amazing. I got to show you, I'm building a studio in my house, so it's going to be next level. So we're going to be able to. I want you to be able to. I want to have a space where people can also they can film some high level content. We're gonna have a huge video wall. I got this huge thing where I just picked it up last night. It's called a Vibe. It's like 75-inch television, but it's a smart board where you kind of move stuff around and everything on it. So it's just going to be a whole next level setup of that, cameras, because I really think that right now with the whole setup of YouTube, TikTok, and just in general, the way everything's moving in terms of video, our word can be heard like all over the world. And all it does is just keep putting it out there consistently, and then you turn around, like you really have created a movement, and that's what it's all about. It's just affecting lives and helping people.
Absolutely. And you're doing that, and we're trying to do that. So, hey, everybody, what's up, Bishops? William C. Simpson. Good to see you, sir. Listen, still waiting on a couple of guests that might pop in as the night progresses, but I am fortunate to have, very blessed to have Mr. Marion Kane III. He is a wealth of knowledge, has a wealth of knowledge, and has a plethora of experience. And we will be able to share in and glean from his knowledge as the night progresses. Listen, y'all that know me. Oh, good. Jarvis is here. Let's go ahead and grab Jarvis. Now, Jarvis, you late. Don't come on here talking about you want to be on top tonight, okay? You go stay right there.
I'm not even going
to. Hey, Jarvis, if me and you are on the bottom again, we know what's up, right? If we know it's on the bottom one time, man. I tried to get in here quick because I was like, I want to see what's up.
Man, I tried to run upstairs, man, and put a suit on so I can compete with you, but I couldn't even get the sleeves on. I tore one of my Sunday school suits up.
Well, you're so stupid. You are stupid, man. Listen, Jarvis, I so appreciate you, and Marion, I appreciate you all. Listen, we're trying a new time tonight. I'm trying 10 p.m. I know Marion said it works a little bit better for him, and I know Jarvis has children as well, so. And I don't, my children are grown, so it's not really a big deal. But listen, we're going to get into this conversation tonight. And if you're on, share the thread. I think we'll build it. If you all, Marion or Jarvis, if you all can go ahead and share the thread if you haven't already done so. And Jarvis, like I said, you can simulcast if you want to. But let's go ahead and get into this. Now, you asked me a minute ago. Our thought comes from a question. And I really kind of did it this way because I wanted to leave it open. So we can kind of deal with a couple of different things. But I got a couple of videos, a couple of questions I wanted to put out there for us tonight. But I ask a question oftentimes, how do you do better if you don't know what better looks like? And let me unpack that a little bit, right? Because, it's so easy. I hear people say, well, your mama taught you this. Well, your mama should have taught you that. Like, I remember one time I was Jarvis, now don't judge me, but I was seasoning some chicken in the sink. I was filming myself seasoning the chicken in the sink, and
grandmama probably did it.
Yeah, so my grandmama did it. I washed it. I mean, the sink was clean. I put the chicken in there. I washed it. Had vinegar in the water, all that stuff. Put my Lowry's on. I ain't gonna give away my secrets, but I put my seasoning on the chicken, all that kind of stuff. And I got a phone call said, "Boy, don't be putting that chicken in the sink." I said, "Huh?" They said, "Didn't your mama teach you to put the chicken in a plastic bag or something like that? Don't put those contaminants in the sink." No, my mama didn't teach me that, that way. And then I saw somebody one time, they were washing dishes. They said, well, your mama taught you, first thing you do is you put some bleach in the water. No, my mama didn't teach me that. But we so often project what we've learned, and we assume that people know what we had to learn. And I think that's so unfair, right? And what it does is it creates a inner division, if you will, especially with our people. Like there's this whole, and I'm gonna get into this conversation tonight. This is where we're segueing into. This whole thing, this whole theory of these women. And listen, women that are listening. Jarvis loves women. He's married. Marion loves women. He's married. I was married for years, and I have daughters. I love women. So this will not be a bash session. And women, you are welcome to come on and be a part of this conversation. Y'all welcome to be a part. I will send you the thread. But it's about that conversation about wearing the bonnet in public. Jarvis, you saw the video in the group, right?
No, I didn't get a chance. Actually, man, I've been knocked out today. I'll be honest with you.
So, Marion, you didn't see it either, right?
No.
Okay,
no,
let me play it right quick. If y'all don't mind, give me a hot second. I'm gonna play it. Then we're gonna talk about it. Okay. Here it is, right here.
So a Black-owned dental office had a sign posted that said, "No house shoes, no pajamas, no bonnets," right? And social media was so up in arms that they tried to destroy this woman's business by leaving her bad reviews, saying that the sign was anti-Black. I just want to know why everything negative and uncouth has to be labeled Black culture. I also want to know why advocating for us to go in public looking like we care about ourselves and how we look is deemed as respectability politics. We should not be condoning and advocating for clear signs of depression, because the only times I've ever been raggedy in public is when something was off with me mentally. Rolling out of bed in the morning and going in public with a bonnet and pajamas on and house shoes is unacceptable, uncouth behavior, no matter what race of people does it. And going out in public looking well put together like I care about myself doesn't mean that I'm trying to be like white people or I'm trying to get white people to respect me. Maybe it's because I respect me. Let's make having self-respect a part of Black culture.
All right. So that's the thought. So we see people all the time in grocery stores, Family Dollar, Walmart, wherever, and they got on these bonnets and the little furry slippers and house shoes. You even see people at the airport doing it now, right? And it's viewed on negatively, of course, by our own people. But my question is, where do you think that behavior came from? What made people think it was okay to go out in public with a bonnet on? You see what I'm saying? Because that thought pattern came from somewhere.
Yeah. I can go first, or Marion, you want to tackle it?
You go.
I mean, I think it's coming from a whole generation that, like, for instance, I saw a video where the teachers dressed up as the students one day. And that's what the teachers wore. They wore Crocs, PJs, you know what I mean, bonnets. And so it's not something that's acceptable unless it's something that's it's tolerated and accepted. So what I won't do is I won't allow my children or my daughters to come out and the house in a certain way. You know what I mean? So I only because I came from a culture where, you know what I mean, if you see me Monday through Friday, you know what I'm saying, I may have been coming home in a suit because I had to go in an office every day, but on Saturday and Sunday I would be dressed down, you know what I mean, with a hoodie and, you know what I mean, and sweats or whatever, and I was treated totally different. You know what I mean? It's like KRS-One's lyrics, black men are judged by their clothes and black women are looked at as hoes. You know what I mean? That's a stereotype that we still, and an uphill battle that we still have to face and fight. But if you take a same culture where they think it's okay for a woman to wear, lingerie, basically a bra and Jordans, you know what I'm saying, and panties to Walmart, the grocery store, and that's acceptable. The only thing that's missing is the bonnet, and so it comes with wanting to instill a lack of respect. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's targeted specifically for blacks. But at the same time, when I went into a liquor store, because I drank liquor as a Christian, you know what I'm saying? When I went to a liquor store, they had a little box on top of a bottle of Seagram's gin that said get a free do-rag with the bottle of Seagram's gin. Now, who wears do-rags? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's targeted. That is definitely targeted marketing.
That's targeted. Yeah. So when it comes to Chanel, Coach, Louis Vuitton, and Gucci bonnets, they're not making that stuff. You think those brand companies are really sitting around making fashion and Gucci bonnets that hang halfway down your back? No. And I'm not condoning anybody who wears it. Do you, boo boo? Because you are grown. You know what I'm saying? You make your money. Yeah. I'm not condemning for doing that, but also you should also want to set a standard. For example, you know what I mean, the way that my wife dresses at home is totally different the way she dresses when she goes out in public. You know what I mean? She does not do the bonnet thing, she does not do the house shoe thing or whatever. You may catch her with a cap on her head, you know what I mean, because it's betwixt when she wants to do her hair. But other than that, she still presents herself in a way that you never know who you're going to see and where you're going to see this person, you know what I mean? And you always want to leave an impact. So I'll pass it to Marion.
Yeah, I mean, Jarvis hit the nail right on the head. I just really believe it's about what you're focused on and what's your direction. If you believe your life is all about possibilities, it's all about a direction, it's all about endless opportunities, you're going to dress like you're ready for opportunity. You're going to be focused like you have an opportunity. You're going to have the mindset that like, hey, opportunities happen to me everywhere and I need to be ready. But I want to say from a flip side, right? From a flip side of someone that I've traveled all around the world. I've been in airports. I almost spent a whole decade in airports 24/7. it just really needs to be slowed down, because I had this conversation when Monique brought the same thing up. Okay. Flat out, I'm going to tell you, you have to understand these folks are going on a vacation. When they want to get there, they want to look good. Okay. So they're going to have their hair wrapped up. They're just going to, it's early in the morning. You're going to sit there. You're going to drive. When I fly overseas, folks show up, their kids all show up with their pillows. They're not dressed. They're not dressed to impress or anything like that. You're there 3, 4 in the morning. You're going to be on the plane for over 2 days. You know what I mean? It's just a different vibe. So I also want to come from that angle as well. You're seeing a whole group of girls. They're probably going down to Miami or something like that. When they get there, they want to look good. You know what I mean? And it's just like they're not going to have their hair out, all this other stuff. They're going to have it all wrapped up. So I understand that aspect, and I want to give a little bit of a different perspective. Yeah. So I'm going to say from that angle, and it's not judged as much.
Yeah. So I understand. Look at him.
We got some sounds, man. I love it.
But I did that.
I don't know. So you guys can roast me. You can.
No, I'm not roasting you at all.
No.
What I'm gonna say is, I bet you James had a curl. You had a Jerry curl, did you?
Never. I could never grow that much hair.
You couldn't grow that much hair.
No.
Well, your boy had a Jerry curl, and it was times that I walked around with that curl bag. You know what I'm saying? Because I was trying to keep. I was trying to keep that drip popping. You know what I mean? I had it twisted down in the front and slicked down on the side with the finger waves and beat up in the back. You know.
Actually, Marion. Actually, I appreciate you for taking that perspective. I really do, because, like I said, I don't want this to be a bash session, right? Nah. And this is my point. This is the point, right? Because somewhere along the line, somebody came up with this label that grandmama got weak, right? Grandmama was weak. She let granddaddy do this and do that. But it was a time that grandmama wouldn't have let you walk out the house looking like that.
Right.
And see, grandmama would have said, girl, you don't need all your, thigh meat hanging out, or you don't need that side meat, cover that up, And we're and we live in an Epicurean, anything goes society now, right? Because Epicureans said, let us eat, drink, and be merry, because tomorrow we're going to die anyway. So now we're in an anything goes society, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't care. And the thing is, when you come out, right, and you talk, let's talk about the respectability piece of it, right? We got our bellies hanging out, we got our stretch marks showing, we got all these things going, and I got you got 2 or 3 year old watching, and all these, and those are the parts. But that part that I hate, Marion and Jarvis, is that when the infighting starts amongst us as a race. You see what I'm saying? When we start talking about, like the young lady in the video talking about, why does this have to be Black culture? And I get it where she's coming from, but I don't want to create division in the process. Go ahead, Marion. I see you got something you want to say.
Well, I mean, what I look at her is, whenever I look at those kind of videos, the first thing I did while she was I missed about 10 seconds, because I always turn the volume off, and I want to look at her. Okay. And I want to look at her surroundings, and I want to look at how she really feels, what she's angry about, or what her real thought process is. And so I saw the woman. She was in an expensive car.
Okay.
She was in an expensive car. Regardless if it was her car or somebody else's car, you can just tell she's nice. She likes nice things. She's accustomed to nice things. She probably spends her time and her information stuff on in her direction on nice things, which isn't wrong. So those are the things that she values, and she wants to be on that level. And she feels that being on that level not only elevates her, but also elevates her race. Mm. And I can respect that. I mean, she wants to put that message out. I can get that. But all I'm just saying is people are on different levels. There are some people that fly all the time. There's some people that are out all the time. And then there are other people that, okay, they've saved up for 6 months to go down to Miami, and they want to take some pictures, and they want to show out, and they don't want the $200 they spent on their hair to sweat out on the airplane. And I can respect that too. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of different perspectives, but we are kind of mixing it in with, there's also just a culture of folks, you go to Walmart, and like Jarvis was saying, they're just completely half dressed. But I'm also going to tell you from another perspective, it's not a Black thing. completely.
Okay.
Because there's a thing, if you really want to look into it, it's called being pajama rich. Right?
I'm a rich, being
pajama rich. It was kind of start off by Hugh Hefner. He everybody showed up at his house all dressed up.
What's up, that one?
He had all the girls around him. He shows up in his PJs. Like, I just don't care.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just the same situation of it's just like it's just a level of laissez-faire. It's just you're on a certain level. You're like, you really don't care as much as anymore. But I just don't think it really needs to be said something about us as a people, or you want to judge a person in general.
I mean, I don't know. And that I think it's a little different because I see it as like the genius can play the clown, but it can't be the other way around. And with that, what I'm saying is, when I used to work for Walmart corporate, it was nothing for me to sit at the lunch table next to Rob Walton.
Okay.
And he would just have like a regular flannel shirt on. You know, I'm sitting there with a suit, and he had a regular flannel shirt on. He drove this dirty green truck and parked it up front. And this man's worth billions. You know what I'm saying? I went to a winery this weekend, and here I am, the same little free breakfast on, that they serve in the morning. The people who own the winery, the people who are the Kraft family, you know what I mean? The people who own all of Kraft, and they come in, you know what I'm saying? They're like what you say, casual or whatever, you know what I'm saying? They don't have anything to lose. They're above and beyond a judge zone. And I'm not saying that Black people in general don't always have that uphill battle of being judged, but all I'm saying is I want my kids to not have to fight that uphill prejudged stereotype. You know what I'm saying? It's cool if you let your kids go to Walmart with bonnets on and house shoes and, you know what I mean, and whatever. It's cool if you don't mind if your son's pants are sagging or whatever, and you know what I'm saying, and he just got that nonchalant look or whatever. But I just hold a higher standard because I have a higher expectation from my children because I push different values into them. I want you to be able to look and say, those are Tally kids.
Yep.
Because I have a value, I have value on my name. You know what I'm saying?
That's good, man. That's good.
And I can't always watch them, but while I can watch them, I applaud when people say, oh man, those are the Tally kids. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's the difference. And it goes way back to when we said how you discipline your kids. Sometimes it's not always through beating or chastising physically. Sometimes it's for them wanting to do things to make you proud.
But I also think it's a major situation of setting up something for people to look at in a positive sense. As opposed to sitting there chastising them, you be that level. You stay on that level. You give them something to reach out to, because then they'll imitate that. I'm dead serious. Talking to a lot of these folks, they don't know how to buy a suit.
Right.
They don't know what.
That's my point.
To buy. They just really don't know. And I kid you not, you stop and talk to them, they want to know, but this is just what they see in their
That's
environment.
my point. That's my point.
So I'm more saying is, instead of I really can understand what the woman was saying. I really could understand. She had a pure heart and intention. I really do think I understand what she says, but I just don't think these folks are purposely doing it. It's more of not a nature, but a nurture type event. And I think that it really goes down to a way, like, sometimes people in the minority culture are viewed that we just like, this is our nature. And it's like, no, this is not it's an environment. It's an environment. Put them in different environments, give them different role models, and give them options.
Right.
And that's, and Marion, thank you again. And Jarvis, listen, you're 100% right. Because my daughters would be the same way. My ex would never have allowed our daughters to walk out a certain way. Right. And she would walk out. I don't care if she had a hat on. Then that little part, the hair that came out from under that, she would make sure she curled that part. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just a certain way she was going to look. But her mama taught her that. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it was a culture create. And herein lies the question, because how do you do better if you don't know what better looks like? And then this is where my problem comes, Marion, Dawood, what's up, bro? What's up, Zontarius? Kevin, I thank you for all of your comments so far. And y'all, listen, let's have this conversation, keep it going. But here it is right here. When you have people like Jarvis that's raising respectable daughter, and not that these people aren't respectable, because I'm not going to say that either, because I only like saying these people because they're our people regardless, right? But if they've never been exposed to what's right, there's a scripture that says, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin, right? But what about the person that doesn't know to do good, and they've never been taught the right thing? You know, that's why I think the whole principle that comes even in the Sermon on the Mount, where it talks about let your light so shine so that people can see your light, and and they'll be drawn to that light. For those that don't have good role models, right? That don't have good mentorship, that don't have those things, but the people who could be teaching, they're too busy looking down their noses, bridge of their nose with an eye of indictment, as though they're better than them, when nobody has taken the time to teach them. And people don't care. I don't care what you say. And Marion, we've heard it often in sales. People don't care how much you know until what? They know how much you care. And if you don't know if they don't know how much you care, they'll never, ever listen to what you have to say. And so my question is, how do we build the bridge so that we can start teaching? Because we worried about little boys getting mentored. I think some of these little girls need some mentors too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And it has to start. I mean, because, how are you going to mentor your daughter if you getting high with her, if y'all in the club together? Listen, I ain't trying to say, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to just throw that out there with her, but you know what I mean? Because once you open that door,
oh, I forgot I got access to it now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The playing field has been leveled. You know what I'm saying? You never catch me. Now, if my kids are grown, if they're grown, that's one thing. But you would never would have caught me taking my son to a strip club or getting my son drunk or anything like that. Or, you know what I mean? The line was clearly there for the purpose of respect. I mean, because it's the way that I was brought up. You know what I'm saying? So the reason that my kids have a foundation of where it is because they got it from me. If you don't know where it is, there's absolutely nothing wrong with seeking it, because self-teaching to me is even more dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when, if nobody will give me the right way to do it, then I'll figure it out myself.
That's scary.
And it is.
It's an environment situation. It's just an environment situation. If you look around and that's the way everyone else is dressed, you're going to want to do and adapt to whatever your environment is. And I think it's just really just an opportunity for folks that know better. I don't even think it's real. I think it's more of an opportunity for the woman to step it up, to be more of an example and let her light shine for those folks, as opposed to judging them. Because I just talked to a lot of different young folks. They just don't know, and they want to know. I've had a lot of folks that come and work with me of all different races. They don't even know how to buy shoes, dress shoes. They don't even really know socks. They don't know any of that stuff. But you know what? I don't realize they're watching me every day. And then what really touches my heart is then when these guys will turn around and they'll spend their hard-earned checks on some nice shoes and they shine them up. We go down to Suit Supply. We buy suits for everybody. They're spending their money and they put it on and they feel different. They see different. And then what happens, their family also sees that, and then they follow them. So there's a domino effect in a positive sense too, as it's happening from a negative sense. But I just can tell you flat out from the way I was raised, my parents, they didn't buy me Jordans. I didn't wear Jordans. I didn't have the cross color, clothes. I'm dating myself. I didn't have the FUBU. I barely had Subnautica. I had a little bit of Tommy Hilfiger. I was on the chaps. I was on, that one level, below. But it's not that they couldn't afford more. They wanted me to focus on the academics. They wanted me to focus on who I was being, not exactly, what I was portraying myself to be. And what's sad is that you can even ask some of my friends. I went through that period when I finally got my own money. I'm like, forget this. I'm gonna go buy a bunch of Jordans and I'm gonna buy some tracksuits, man. And this is stuff I couldn't wear as a kid. And I was dating my mind. You know what I mean? I put it on and I'm looking and I was like, you know what? I was treated different. And I'm like, I'm gonna put my suit back on. It's sad, you know. Not to say I go in a closet full of Jordans, which I do. You know what I mean? But it's just like you start to recognize that the way you're dressed, you are treated different. And it gets to the point when you're cool with it, you understand that, and you're manipulating the situation. It's just that you just don't know that that's really what really happens on the outside. I just have a lot more access. A lot more doors are open to me when I'm dressed. I got my head up, looking right. My mind's right, and I'm positive. Absolutely. As opposed to when I'm trying to, like, you know, dress and look like someone else. So it really is a personal choice, but I think it's something that folks need to understand is you're actually limiting yourself as well.
Hey, let me let's jump on Zontarius' statement. He said we've departed from cultural standards, and I agree with Zontarius because you know, Jarvis, I took my daughters to a softball tournament in Kansas City probably about 6-7 years ago. And we had a sorry team, so we got put out early, right? So we got a chance to go down to the Negro League Hall of Fame a couple of times. And when we went down to the Negro League Hall of Fame, they talked about how at an average Negro League game, there would be 30 to 40,000 people there. But an average MLB game would be about 8,000 people. And one thing that they prided themselves in doing was they would dress to the nines, as they called it, right? When they went to the baseball game, they would dress in their Sunday best, you know what I mean? Dresses, and because there was a cultural standard. And so, and in the Black community, you know, when we were all in there, when the teachers and the lawyers and the doctors and the professionals lived in the hood before the Fair Housing Act of 1967, which enabled us to live in their communities, right? You know, when all of the professionals were in the community, there was a standard because, you know, there was a 2-parent homes, and you would see the businessman husband come home and get out of his car and walk in the house, and the neighborhood kids would see him as the businessman, right? And all those things would happen. But as the substructure got weaker, because now they said we can. When they said we can move in their neighborhoods, we did. So the professionals moved out of the neighborhood, and the doctors and the lawyers and the teachers, they moved across the tracks. And so then all of the ones that were the examples that showed how we should dress, how we should carry ourselves, how we should portray ourselves as men, they're gone now. I saw a statistic one time that and when Robert Taylor Homes was in existence in Chicago, I think over 20,000 residents, I think it was less than 10% Black men in that neighborhood, I mean, in that area, right? But all these little boys, so they don't have any examples. So they don't see a job. They don't see a Marion. They don't see somebody's value of his own. They don't see our individuals. So therefore, they look at Michael Jordan or the rappers or the people that on TV or the images that Hollywood wants them to see. And all it does is it weakens our position. It puts us in a position to be disrespected or not respected or not even care, because most of them got a mentality of, I don't give a, I can't say it, but I don't give a flip anyway, when we should. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where you need more men and women to come out and say, not on my watch, you know, so and not on my watch. So any young man that I come across and any young lady that me or my wife comes across, you know what I mean? We're not going to change our values of the way we dress or the way that we do. You know, we invited a young lady to go to church with us. She wanted to go to church. She was 16 years old. She wanted to go to church with us as a family. We dress still. You know what I mean? So she called and she asked my daughter, what do I wear? My daughter told her, put on something nice. Does everybody have to dress a certain way when they go to church these days? No, especially with these new age churches. But what I don't do is I don't bend. When I went to the restaurant, we was tired as all get out. It was our anniversary, our 18th anniversary. You know what I mean? And we was real tired. My wife was like, she was like, Jarvis, I think I'm just going to wear a t-shirt and some jeans. I said, you could do that, but it's our anniversary. We've always dressed up on our anniversary. You know what I'm saying? We've always put on something nice. So You could do that if you want to. She saw me slowly getting dressed. She saw me slowly buttoning up my shirt and putting my jacket and things on like that. And she said, you know what? You're right. It's our anniversary. I don't care if this little place has nobody else dressing up. That's what we're gonna do. So it's, to me, it's okay to hold on and be the example that people need to see, because people may not always, you may not be able to talk to everybody. You may not be able to witness to everybody or testify or testimony to everybody or give everybody your testimony. But what you can do is to be a walking vision board for people. And people really do pay attention. So just like you said, you would see the person who was the businessman who got out of the car and did the things like that. He may never said a word to people,
Exactly.
but
Walking
someone looked at him and said, I want to be like that dude.
Absolutely.
I want to be like that. Or somebody may be like, I want to be like that lady right there. See how she carries herself? You know what I mean? I may have never spoken or said a word to her in her life, but I like what she has. I like the way she carries herself. I want to be like that. And to me, that's important.
Yeah.
But what stores are in some of these neighborhoods? Like, you have to figure out exactly what stores are there, what options do people have, and so if in your neighborhood, what's close by are all the sneaker stores, and maybe you might have a Walmart, but you get a lot of black community, like a lot of minority communities, you're gonna have a lot of hair salons and things like that. But I'm just trying to say, just from a standpoint of just to be able to get to access to a different way, it just takes time and effort. What's really nice is the great equalizer is the internet. You can always go online and get stuff shipped right to your home. But
my kids get more packages than I do.
Yeah, so
constantly.
That's what changes. That's what changes things, So what I'm just trying to say is that, like, we have to understand it's a lot of it is what our youth are taking in. You got to look at what's on TikTok. You got to look at what's on Instagram, what's in the videos. Because now, back in my day, rappers used to dress a certain way. Now rappers just very androgynous. Rappers are wearing bonnets and they're wearing flip flops.
Right,
you know what I mean? And so, I mean, it's just it's a really a whole thing of they're trying to fit into some culture.
Yeah.
And eventually, it will get to a certain point once they get into the workforce. And I can understand where the woman was coming from. She's just trying to help folks. Hey, when you're trying to get into a workforce, it's going to be a rude awakening.
Yeah, but it's a way to deliver the message. I like what Zontarius Rick said, but also want to get into the Wad's question about the ancestors and past slavery and what we did because we didn't teach them. I want to get a better understanding of that question.
He's asking us how many of us on the panel speak about our ancestors past slavery and what we did, because if we don't teach them, talking about youth, that then they'll never know how great they can be. He definitely talks about where we've come from as a people and all those types of. He's on those types of vibes. I try to get him because that's what he's really into. Dealing with the past. And I've even suggested at one time that he might want to start his podcast and talk about some of those things, because I'm not as well versed as he is in those areas. So I can't talk. I'm not because I don't want to sound disrespectful, but I'm not going to speak about something that I'm not as knowledgeable about.
Right.
Okay. And so because I'm not knowledgeable about it, I talk about the subjects that I choose to talk about. Like tonight, I get that. And like I said, we could talk about you when you're on the show, or when we have those open mic conversations, we could talk about all of those types of things. And I welcome those conversations. But like I said, as far as me leading with that conversation, I'm probably not going to do it, because that's just not what I'm as well versed in.
Right.
So like I said, no disrespect to Dawood, because Dawood has a wealth of knowledge as well. But he loves all of our conversations that we do, and he's right to an extent. We all are the byproducts of slavery, no doubt about that. But everyone, all of our conversations, he wants to end up in that direction. And like I said, and I'm not as well versed in that area. So therefore, I can't. I try. Like I said, if I become more knowledgeable, or if I have 3 or 4 panelists, because I got a guy. You know what? Just for Dawood, I got a dude that taught Pan-Hellenic. Yeah, I got a plan. But tonight we're gonna start. In fact, I'm gonna pivot right now. Go ahead. What you gonna?
Well, I was just saying from the standpoint of is like you definitely need to know about your culture. You definitely need to stop. You need to read. And if you're not going to, you have to listen to the older folks that are going to tell you. I'm shocked at the amount of people that never knew about the Tulsa massacre. Like most of the people found out about it during the Watchmen television show, where they thought it was just a storyline, but it was the truth, And that was just something I read about and was taught about years and decades ago. But what happens is like you learn about these different things from your past, your people's past, your ancestors' past. But the key thing about it is okay, what are we going to do in the future? You don't want to repeat the past, which I understand that 1,000%. But I just really feel that you have to set a firm basis and stuff for the future, and you can't dwell so much on the negativity that happened because you're never going to move forward. And I think that's the main tenets and stuff of the Bible and also the faith and stuff that, I hold, and I'm sure you other gentlemen hold, is that you can do the impossible. And there's tons of people that have risen up from horrible circumstances, and they've been able to do great things. Just not only because they had faith in what they could do, but they had faith that somebody greater than them was helping them. So I really think that like all those different things is great to learn and to talk about. Not only to your youth, but also different other people that want to learn from different cultures.
Yeah,
we should read about it.
Absolutely. And I mean, like I said, I got a plan for that. But listen, you know what, Marion and Jar, I'm gonna pivot right now. Talk about something else. I had one particular video this week that blessed me, and there was a line that this little guy said in the video that blew my mind. He said, "Never attribute to malice what can be attributed to incompetence." And I want let me show it to you, guys. I want you to see it. Watch this.
People are just walking in front of it like we're not recording.
It happens. People are people. None of it's intentional. Never attribute to malice what can be attributed to incompetence. It's far more likely that they're all in their own worlds, doing their own thing. They're not paying attention to the world around them. And we all do it every day, whether you're driving, walking down the street. All of our lives are just as complex as everybody else's. Everything you have going on, they have going on. Nobody knows what everybody else is going through. We also need to be a little more self-aware and aware of the world around us.
That was deep.
You gotta look deep to find the deep things. If all you ever do in your life is stay at the surface, you'll never find anything worth exploring.
Are you real?
I try to be.
Are you an AI?
No, not at all.
Man, let me tell you something. That little 54 seconds right there blessed the myth. Because if you missed the context, they were recording. Some people kept walking by. Brother looking for a reason to be, man, they act like they don't see us recording. Well, maybe they didn't see you recording. You know what I'm saying? So the little dude said, never attribute to malice what can be attributed to incompetence. Everybody's in their own world, doing their own thing. And Marion, when I tell you that video blessed me right there, because you know what? Because I think, Jarvis, so many times we look for reasons to be offended.
That's
not
right.
you. I know you. You probably won't. You so bulletproof. You ain't gonna let nobody bother you, Jarvis. I know that. But you are joning them to death. You whatever you gotta do to get out of them. But
all good, all in fun.
Yeah. But did you hear what he just said, man?
Yeah.
He said there's a whole world going on out here, man. People got their own thing going on. People got bills. People got concerns. You don't know what a person has going on at home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why, you got to be careful how you deal with people, man.
You do. And one of my good friends, Pastor Sean Strickland, and her husband were both on a radio show that I had, and they talked about something that kind of opened my eyes up to that. And it was simple as someone called Sean, and they asked her for money, and she was going to give it to him, and she thought about it, you know what I mean? And she harbored on it and decided not to do it, But the problem was she harbored it and it caused her to lose sleep.
Wow.
And her husband was the one that interjected that she's losing sleep over somebody else's situation where they've gone on about their life and they're not worried about it. And sure enough, to prove that, when she reached out, the girl was out gigging it, shopping, doing everything. You know what I'm saying? So she had taken someone else's situation and just and moved on. And that's kind of like the day. To me, that's what I got from that video. That's kind of like the day to day is. People worry so much about what other people think, what other people are doing, how other people are responding, where other people at. People are buying homes, people are getting married, people are popular, people making money, getting money. You know what I'm saying? They're losing focus on their own path to do their own great things.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So to me, that's kind of what I got from it. Follow your own path, silence the noise, do what you got to do, focus.
Yeah. What you got for me, man?
What I'm saying is what you focus on is where your mind goes.
Yeah.
And where your thoughts are, that's what will come to you. It is no such thing. You're not manifesting it.
Yeah.
Everybody you are drawing it. You're a magnet. All right. It has nothing to do with the universe, nothing of it. That's what you are focusing on. That's what you're gonna get. It works in a negative sense, but it also works in a positive sense. But folks are taught even from a young age, don't think too positive. You just want to just think of the worst, and then if something good happens, you won't be surprised. You won't be disappointed. It's a thought process that's taught even from a young age that you're not allowed to think big. You're not allowed to focus on something positive. You just got to just hope nothing bad happens. And at that point, you're not thriving. You're just surviving.
That's right.
But it's 100% all about what you're focused on. I remember reading the study about a road that's in Kansas. It's a straight road, right? And they couldn't understand during the wintertime why, when there was light poles, these light poles were about a football field apart. And they could not understand why in the wintertime, when a car, when it would spin out, why it just wouldn't spin out and just wreck in the open space. It would spin out and actually hit a telephone pole. Now, these were a football field apart, and they were barely a foot wide, right?
Yeah.
And this made no sense. So they put cameras up on these poles, and they sat there and watched. Come to find out, as soon as the person hit a patch of ice, you know what's the first thing they thought about? Don't hit the pole. Don't hit the pole. Don't hit the pole. And do you know what they did? And the camera caught it.
Oh, wow.
They actually steered themselves toward the pole.
Wow.
That one study changed my life. You know what I mean? Because even when we get into issues and we get into disappointments with our coworkers, our loved ones, our friends, our family, if we are predisposed to be looking at the pole, we're going to see the pole. We're going to hit that pole because that's what we want.
That's deep.
You know what I mean?
Very deep.
So it's one of those situations. It's a daily effort that folks don't get. You got to sit there and make a list of what you're focused on. Your family is what you're focused on. Your health, your spirituality, the way you spend your time, the way you have your fitness. Look at that every single day. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what your circumstances. You look and focus on that. That's what you'll attract. And it's okay if what you write down, you find out you don't want it anymore. That's what everybody is. That's the Bible's already trying to tell you. It's all vanity, but God's also telling you, I will give you every desire of your heart. Just ask me for it. And that's good. What's been taught to people is they've all been distracted. They've been told, ask the universe. Okay? So Jarvis, right? Let me tell you this, Jarvis, you got your kids, right? You got your kids. You just bought your oldest a brand new car, brand new Mercedes, right? You spend your money, hard-earned money. You did your thing. She goes to her party with her friends, and they say, I like that Mercedes. And she's like, yeah, the universe gave it to me. And then you guys go to Thanksgiving dinner, right? Everybody's sitting around. You know, your daughter working hard, fantastic girl. And how's that things going with that car? Car's fantastic. The universe gave it to me. you're not a prideful person, but after a while, you'd be like, yo, I'm paying.
No, the universe gonna pay the car note and insurance.
Right. The universe. But see, here's the deal. How do you think God feels? How do you think God feels?
That's right.
How do you think he feels?
Wow.
When he sits there, he hears about that every day. Universe. No, it ain't the universe, it's me.
And you know what, man? And that's part of that whole culture thing, man. The more Western we become, and the more the substructure was weakened, the more we became exposed to. And when we are the effects of what we've been exposed to.
Right.
And we've embraced. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I see stuff now, I be like, how? I'll be like, how, I'm the only single one on this panel. So sometimes I look at dating profiles. And when I look at dating profiles, I look at a couple different things. I look at height, because I'm vertically challenged. I ain't the tallest guy, but I look at religion, you know what I'm saying? And I see black women as Hindu and, and Jewish and everything. I'm like, how? And so, and I'm not judging nobody. Let me get that understood. I don't want to get picketed on me or nothing. Well, maybe it would, but that might make me viral or whatever. Y'all can say, picket me. I'm good. I ain't gonna talk about the alphabets, but y'all picket me. I don't have a problem with that. But you got a good point when you start talking about that mind thing. Because as young parents, sometimes we make the worst mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Especially like I used to suck in the morning, rushing like, hurry up. Move, go faster. We gotta catch the bus. Gotta go. All this kind of stuff. Drill sergeant, and you putting that all on that child's mind. First thing in the morning, the kid get on the bus. Now have a nice day. You terrorize them for 15, 20 minutes.
That's me all day long. That's me all day long.
Terrorize them.
I know, man. My daughter be on the school bus crying, and she be like, "Why you sending that baby to school like that?" You know what I'm saying? They gonna think you an abuser.
It's abuse, bro. It's mental. I ain't gonna lie, man. I know I'm mentally abused. Some mind.
But there's that fine line between like actually caring and you understand that's love. You know what I mean? Like it's like we gotta make this happen. Like we're taking your education seriously. Every day counts. You know what I mean? Like it's just two different viewpoints. It could come from a negative standpoint, but I look back and it made me laugh because that's what my parents did to me. And I'm old now.
But it's teaching good habits, man, versus bad habits because I see. And I'm gonna say this because I know my wife ain't gonna listen to this show. My wife will wake up. She'll wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and she'll lollygag until 6:45. And then it's like, all right, hurry up, y'all know we're gonna be late. We need to move all this thing. You know what I'm saying? And now I see my daughters doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
But let me ask something. But Jarvis, watch this. Let me just say this. If you know that's what's gonna happen, why we get mad anyway?
I don't know.
I mean, they do it every week. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you might well sit in the car with your coffee, get your little bacon sandwich or whatever.
She's still flipping through BET, her, you know what I'm saying, and seeing what she want to watch tonight. I'm like, oh no, you the one said you wanted to be there on time,
bro. And it's not going to change. Man, it got to a point, man. Like I said, it's gonna happen. It is what it is.
Yeah. But I'm the total different. I'm like Marion. When I say if that alarm goes off at 6 o'clock, I touch her, and I got that from my dad. My dad he used his voice. Jarvis, get up. I still can hear it in my ears. And what I would do, I would get up, start getting up, get ready. You know what I mean? And I'm still the same way. And now my advantage is I'm sitting downstairs, you know what I'm saying? I made me a bacon and egg sandwich, you know what I'm saying? I'm sitting in the front seat of the car, and they're up there just scrambling, moving stuff around, you know what I mean?
Bro,
we up at the same time,
Hey, I was going to ask you something. What was I going to ask you? Go ahead, Mary, because I can't remember. I forgot.
I got two things I was asked. First, I was going to ask, what are your dating settings, James? You started talking about it, so...
Hey, I'm still figuring it out.
He's still doing the swipe left or swipe right.
No, let me say this.
Be intentional about that too.
Let me say this, because as I mature, some of those things have changed.
I'm telling
Okay.
you, it means a lot. Like folks don't
Nope.
understand, but like when you go to those apps, you got to realize there are people on there that just need a meal and they just need somebody to pay their rent.
Man, I've never met anybody off that app in the app. I don't take them. I use them for finger exercise. I can swipe left,
But
keep my arthritis off me.
But there are quality people. There's quality people out there that
I'll probably never find them.
No, but see, there's tons of quality people out there that are actually time poor, but they have a lot of value. They just don't have the time, and that's what the kind of situation life we're in nowadays, where they got to do stuff pretty fast. You just got to know what settings you are, and you just got to know what to look for. I'm really into when I do the public speaking, I do sales training and stuff like that. I really believe pictures tell you a lot.
Yeah,
like I really deep dived into that a lot more lately, because you can tell a lot about a person, what they're doing, where they've been, just from their photos. Only thing that throws it off is that a lot of people will use dated photos from like years ago. So,
but honestly, I don't think James is ready. I think he's still in a place where he prides his space and his privacy, and that's one thing that he'll have to sacrifice the more that he gets to know somebody.
How this turn into a James analysis?
I'm just telling you what a TI is.
I'm trying to figure
I don't
out
think any of us are every ready. You just gotta keep showing up.
Oh Lord!
Yeah.
Because when you keep showing up,
hold on.
You
He ain't ready.
Drop some bombs or something. Hold on. Hold on.
Because James, man,
incoming. Let's get another. Why? How in the world we trying to talk about who James?
He ready. He ready.
Oh, let's do this one too then.
It has to be a level of consistency to it. You know?
No. Jarvis is probably right on that thing. When I'm ready out there, I'm gonna give you an example. When I say as I grow, things might change a little bit, right? Like for instance, it was a time I said I wouldn't date a woman with children.
Okay.
But if I meet a woman that I start talking to her and I start to care about her, it's no way I can not care about her, and I can care about her and not care about her children, right?
Right.
So that might change. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not limiting myself. I might have a height and weight preference, all those types of things. But if I meet somebody and I like them, those things might change. You know what I'm saying? Now, but there are limits to that. Don't get me wrong, because I'm 5'9", but I'm not gonna say my weight, because my weight has increased exponentially during this whole pandemic process. But so I'm not limiting myself. Well, I am, because I don't want to exclude. But if you know who you are. I mean, let's be realistic. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
You need a woman who's got so much going on that she will not focus on your time, because she'll have things going on herself.
Yeah, you can't be needy.
I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because she's gonna have her own things going on. Because honestly, if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't have selected my wife.
You said she ain't listening, right?
Right, she ain't gonna listen to the show.
Okay, thank you, Jesus.
If it was you put it on Lifetime, she would. BT her.
I didn't want to make sure she don't hear this right here.
But I probably wouldn't have. But God knew what I needed.
Okay, there you go. That's clean it up. Clean it up.
He knew what I needed. You know what I'm saying? And what I was thinking and what I was looking for, you know what I mean, wasn't what I needed. Yeah. You know what I mean? But he packaged it up, and you know what I mean? She came as the package that I had to discover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Found your good thing. That's what I'm talking about.
Man, it came with a lot of mistakes and fixing and molding and doing this. You know what I'm saying?
How many years you been married, Jar?
18.
18. You know what? We have Avery on from time to time, and Avery said it wasn't until his 18th year that he started to figure his marriage out.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I understand that.
He said because he's been married a little over 30. He said in about year 18 is when they really started to figure that thing out. I used to equate our marriage to the age of our children.
Yeah,
especially my oldest son. The more self-sufficient he became, the more self-sufficient our marriage became. You know what I'm saying?
But up to 7, either one of you can still walk out the door. You'd be like, you know what? I don't want to do this. Right. But when you hit that 7th year, it's about when you're like, you know what? Let's just try to keep it going. Because I can't even fathom 18 years just like that. I can't even believe it's been that long. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Wow. How long you been married, Marion?
A couple of hours.
Yeah.
Like 3 minutes, not like 3 years. I'm gonna tell y'all flat out. Like I lived in New York for about 15 years. I'm gonna tell you, those 15 years were a blur. Like it was just nonstop, 24/7. But I'm gonna tell you like this: when I met my wife, it was undeniable. But it's a whole different thought process. My wife's from Venezuela. You know, she came over here with $250 in her pocket and created a 6-figure career for herself. You know, she sat here, bought her family a house and stuff back home. Right now, we're putting 3 people through college, in addition to doing other things. And it's just her spirit, her thought process. She sees the world differently. And that's really what it's all about. Isn't just about the person and all these outer situations. It's what the interior, and she's also physically gorgeous. But at the same time, she just sees the world completely differently. And when you have that perspective, when someone is excited and they're appreciative of basic things that we take for granted, like hot water, electricity, and just having access to things, those things are just a different level. It helps you to sit back. But the main reason why I was bringing that up to James, not to pry about, you know, his private life or anything like that, is that same thing. What happens is even when you are in a single state, you still need to be intentional. And you still need to have a focus about what kind of woman you like.
Absolutely.
I don't care from a physical standpoint, what they look like, height, whatever, or what you want. Then you find out what they want mentally and things like that. And the social media and also technology allows you to be a lot more focused on those things. And then you can actually be a lot more intentional. Because what's going on is that James, I'm just trying, as a friend, like he's a giving person. And that's really what it's all about. Like you have enough to give. His cup is full. The amount of time and effort he puts into the show, and just always I've just known him as a person. Those are those things that, like, I know that they're valuable, you know, and it's just about finding that right person that when you know, like, okay, yeah, this is it. It's undeniable. I didn't think that was the truth until I actually met my wife. And I was just like, yeah, this is it. Yeah, that's it. But you got to get out there. You got to see them first.
Yeah, I get it. And I received that, and it's coming. But Jarvis hit the nail on the head. You know, I'm gonna be all right. It's coming. It's coming. But I just ain't. I'm not mentally. It would do them more harm than good right now. So it's best that James be by himself until James makes his choice.
And that's how it was. I mean, back in the day, I would break up with a woman if she didn't fill up the ice trays.
Oh yeah.
All I needed was a reason. You know what I mean?
If your voice if your voice too scratchy, I'm like, man, no, I don't want to hear that in the morning. You know, I come up with something. You know, I be handing out. Listen, Marion, I be handing out hand grenades. I be like, here, blow yourself up real quick. I ain't trying to stick around. Now, by the same token, I've met a few over the years that are smart enough and are confident enough to say, Negro, you do realize that this hand grenade is loaded. Where's the pen?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh, it's in my pocket. Here it is. And that woman is the one that's the potential. You understand what I'm saying? But the one that says, and then throws a hand grenade, or think that, you got to think critically enough to say, he ain't foolish enough to blow himself up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I know that's not fair, and that's why I'm not choosing, because right now I don't have to choose. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to make another life-changing decision because I'm about to move, and my daughter is about to move in with me. If the Lord allows me to see Thursday, it'll be my 51st birthday. I'm grown. I turn 51 on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? My daughter's moving in. Things are changing. My Samson talked. Samson's his strength was in the Bible. His strength was in his hair, and when they found out what his strength was, they cut it off, and then they cut it. Then they gouged his eyes out. But at a certain point, his hair started growing again. And when his hair started growing again, his strength started to come back. And I've been weakened over these last 5 years after my divorce. I went, and a lot of it was self-pity. A lot of it was staying stuck in a state of stagnation. I was with a white guy this weekend working out in Longview, Texas, and we were talking about money. And, I make enough money to pay my bills, because I live alone, and I don't have to worry about nobody else with me. But beyond that, I really wasn't stressing on a lot of extracurricular things, right? And finally he said, why are you comfortable like that? And I thought about it. I said, why am I comfortable like that? Especially from where I came from. Because Marion, you know where we come from. We didn't walk in a dealership without a 10K guarantee. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I did, back then I know you wouldn't even show up for 10K a month. I get it, Marion, but I'm talking about in the early 2000s when we walked through a dealership. We walked in with a 10K. Jarvis, I can live off my guarantee, but wouldn't no dealership keep you around if you only made your guarantee? So 10 was the floor. So I was used to a certain lifestyle, and I sacrificed it. Paul said, I count all things lost for the knowledge of the excellency of knowing Christ Jesus. The word lost in the Greek means I forfeited those things. I gave them back. You know what I'm saying? I counted all loss. I forfeited it because I wanted something bigger. And when I walked away from the car business, I wanted something bigger. I wanted my family. I wanted to, make sure I was at my son's baseball games. I wanted to make sure I was at home, so I sacrificed management. I sacrificed money. And you know what? And I used to get mad because, hell, it didn't seem like folks recognized my freaking sacrifice.
Right.
I could have stayed at the dealership. I could have worked 12, 15 hours a day, lost my relationship with my son, still ended up losing the marriage. I did all of that. Thinking I'm doing the noble thing, right? To come home, and I still lost it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying,
bro. Because Marion, I know you can relate. Because like you said, you've only been married for 2 or 3 years. I remember I would be told, I don't need the money. I want you at home. But then hell, when I'm at home, now you're complaining.
Yeah. And I understand what you're saying because I have my wife now knows that I deal with separation issues because my first marriage ended because of income, because I lost my job. And coming home is when her parents packed her up and packed all the kids' things up. And I had to help put the kids' stuff in, on top of the van and this and that. So my wife now knows that I deal with separation issues because what if I don't make enough money? What if I am now spending a lot of time at home, but I'm not bringing it in? You know what I'm saying? So I try to make sure that even though that I am the breadwinner, in the back of my mind, it always is. There's always going to be this thing, that says, man, what if, you know what I'm saying? What if I don't make enough money?
They don't recognize the freaking sacrifice. They want you to be who they want you to be, but won't let you be the best version of yourself. A man is not Build-A-Bear. Now, you can have your standards and you can say what you will and you won't put up with. But I believe in a concept called having elastic walls. You allow a person to grow into who they are. Because if you start trying to control and manipulate the outcome of how somebody is, that's witchcraft.
Yeah.
That's witchcraft. And if that person's not for you, just let them not be for you. You ain't got to demonize them. You ain't got to say that they're this or they're not this or they're all that. That's it. I get it. But I know what I did. I know what I did. And Marion, like I said, at my age, I'm 51. I got in the car business at 21. I made it in management at 26. So that would give me, if I had stayed in management for 25 years, how many times would I be a millionaire right by now, Marion?
Yeah, you hit some pockets. There were some pockets in there. Like
I had a chance to buy into a car dealership at 29, but I was making the wrong decisions.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So I know, but I was told I don't need the money. I want you. Well, I came. I did.
She needed the money. She wanted the money too. That was just a metaphor. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever let a woman tell you she don't need the money. She needs the money.
Yeah,
that's why I'm not choosing stats, Marion. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm not choosing stats and sharing stats, because I need somebody who's going to compliment and I can compliment that we can grow together. That's that. So until I find that person.
Only reason why I differ on that point, James, is that past behavior is indicative of future results. You know what I mean? So
I hear you, boy. You said say it again. Say it again.
I was gonna say the only reason why I differ from what you were saying is that I really truly believe past behavior is indicative of future results. The decisions someone's made in the past, the time they put in, is indicative of what they're gonna do in the future, good and bad. You know what I mean? So I do think stats are important. You know what I mean? But you have to understand exactly what type of stats they are.
No doubt.
I respect a lot of times when people, they have done a lot of grinding, have done a lot of stuff in silence, and then they come out and they've done a lot of big things, as opposed to you know, they're doing it and they're telling everybody about it from the same stand. So yeah, I do think stats do matter. I mean, you want to find out like what they've done.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that I haven't set mine yet. Is all I'm saying.
Okay.
And I'm not limiting mine. I know what I wanted to look like.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, for the most part, and I know what kind of characteristics I wanted to have. You know, and I can't see that on the picture. I can see part. I can see, I can see what she. But you know, I ain't never seen nobody post the ugliest picture.
You got us, but you got, you know what I'm saying.
Everybody,
ain't nothing wrong with
it.
Right, you got.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna put their best foot forward. Am I right, Jarvis? Then you can go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
No, I mean you would do the same thing. You know what I mean? You got some people who take pictures like this. Yeah, some people take pictures like this. Yeah, some people take pictures like this. You know what I mean? They're gonna take the best. They're gonna take the best angle that's gonna give them the best opportunity. For you. You know what I mean? So you do the same thing. You know.
No, I'm not faulting them for doing that. You know what I'm saying? Do that. No doubt. I get that. But my point is that you're going to always see the representative. You're going to always see the best foot. You know what I'm saying? But things can definitely change. You know what I'm saying? Because like if I look at, like, I appreciate if I look at a dating profile and I see her in a wig, but then I also see her with a bald head. You know what I'm saying? Because that way I ain't going to be surprised.
That wig is diverse, bro. You know?
I like the little short bob wig. That's the one I like. You know what I'm saying? But don't let me see you out. And then because I can't tell the difference between a wig. I mean, I'm sorry. These glasses ain't nothing but a prop. You know what I'm saying? I can't see that good. So don't fool me. Because I might get mad. But if you
this whole universe is a lie.
but hey, but the whole universe is a lie. It's all an illusion, bro.
The universe gave her that wig. God didn't give it to her. That was the universe gave her that wig.
And what a sacrifice it was for that horse. And it's hers. She paid for it. She got the receipt. I get it. But I don't want no surprise. I just don't want no surprise. Yeah. And I can't tell. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
just saying, hey, you just gotta enjoy yourself, enjoy the moment.
Man,
not every successful courtship ends in marriage.
No
doubt. But listen, but one thing I'm going to do, Kim, hear your brother well when I say this. Y'all in California too much. But one thing, hear me well. Whoever gets me next, whoever I end up with, is going to get the best version of me. Mm-hmm. And every day, listen to me and listen well. Every day I'm becoming a little more me.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be more me tomorrow than I am today. Every day I become a little more me. And so until I get to a certain place, and I promise you I'll be better next week and next month and beyond, you know. And when I become
but wait a minute. But you started the show off asking, how do you know what better is?
Well, I do know what better looks like. I've seen it. I watch it all the time. And so therefore, because I know it, I can strive to go towards it. Some people
But what about if it's not better for her?
Well, then she's not her.
Okay.
Yeah, your turn. Go ahead, Marion.
I just utterly disagree with what you're saying. It's just
that's fine. Hey, we got different fingerprints too.
I just tell you, you're enough right now.
I'm not saying I'm not enough.
You have that level like right now, and it goes on what we're saying about how do you do better if you don't know what better looks like.
That's exactly what I just said.
If this is enough, and I'm telling you that I'm not where I'm supposed to be, imagine how you're gonna view me when I'm telling you where I'm supposed to be.
It don't matter how I view you.
Yeah, exactly. So I
think what Marion is saying, that I wouldn't marry the person that I used to be.
But listen to my point. And I agree with Marion in saying I'm not saying that. You're saying I'm enough. And I know I'm enough, but I'm saying there's more in me that you haven't even seen yet.
But see, I just really think what happens is a lot of times people, they think that there's multiple steps to a certain level, or they think that, okay, I can get to there once I have this and this and this, everything will be right. Then I can go the next step. And I'm trying to tell you flat out, like literally, there are no steps. If you think you can go right to the top, you will go right to the top. You know, like it's all about where you shoot, where you're shooting for, and what you're going for.
And that's exactly keywords. What I'm going for, and I'm not there yet.
I got you.
Key point, and then exactly that's it. And we can have these conversations. We'll have this conversation offline. But trust me, I'm not where I am supposed to be yet.
But the car business is crazy, Jarvis. I'm talking about. I've never been in such a toxic, racist, just blasphemous, like disingenuous. You're literally surrounded by sharks every day. All day. Your coworkers are sharks. Everybody's a shark, right? And so, but what's interesting is that you have to sit back, though. You have to sit back, and I know that time you took away allowed you to come in. Because when I've met James, I met him on a level where he already told you last time, I'm offering him a job immediately, and we're doing great. Because what happened is he took that time off, and then he is able to come back and see a dealership in ones and zeros, like it's the Matrix. And that's what your job and mastery and stuff is all about. You can operate on that low level, but when you can start seeing things in ones and zeros, you can start really manipulating, seeing how all the stuff's moving together. At that point, you can navigate a lot better. Because one thing that I've learned in the car business is it's not about how much you pay somebody. If you sell them hope, they'll work like a dog.
Yeah.
So I've seen so many people that have sacrificed a paycheck just for the hope of making more money and stuff later on, hoping that they're going to have a better life for their wife, hoping they'll have a better life for their kids, hoping that they're going to be on this level in the future. And what's sad is that's what's sold to them every day. And then they turn around and they get close to that spot. And then they look and their whole team, no one's behind them. And they've been sold a whole bill of goods. And then that's what makes people bitter. So that's what I'm like, you better take that money right now. You know, if you're going to do it, you better find a place that's going to support you right now. That's going to be tangible. Where's the contract? Where's the money at? I don't want hope. I want something tangible.
Can I ask y'all a question?
Sure.
It's something just from my experience. Whenever and this has nothing to do with how much car dealers make. Yeah. But it's been times when you walk into a car lot, right?
Yeah.
And you know what your credit score is. You know how much you want to pay down. But whenever you guys, as a salesman, when y'all put your hands down like this on the paper and y'all say, let me talk to my manager, I'll be right back. Is that a no?
No.
Because most of the times when y'all do like this, when y'all do like this, and y'all put it on top of y'all just set it on top of the apple on the desk, that little desk in front of you, and they be like, look, let me go talk to my manager. I'll be right back. We've already been in there for 2.5 hours. We've been in there for 2.5 hours. Look. We hungry. Look, our kids sitting there. Our kids don't want no more chips, no more bottled water. They want to go home. They done reached the bottom of the internet.
I'm bombing the mess out you, boy. I'm bombing. One more.
Y'all do like this. Look.
No, the answer is no.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. No. I wanted a positive spiritual answer.
That person might have arthritis.
Okay.
I know what he's talking about, though.
Yeah. You can hear it. They stand over. They be like, they see your whole, because you done pulled up our whole credit score. You know we got a 424, and we can't put but $100 down. And y'all come back, y'all be like, look,
you ain't got a $4,000 fee.
Look, let me talk to my manager, and I'll be right back.
But see, when I'm in the store, I get rid of those people before we get to that point.
There you go. I appreciate that, man. Don't hold me 3.5 hours.
I go reverse, man. I'm selling hope, man. I'm like, buckle in. We're calling all your relatives.
Cosigner is king, bro. We're gonna work you for a cosigner.
Huh?
Or a straw purchase, one of the two. We're gonna get
We're
a
getting some co-signers. Let's go.
You
We're
selling
calling
hope.
your grandma. We're calling your auntie.
Yeah.
We're calling
Now listen,
everybody.
listen. We're going to leave you off this loan and let grandmama buy this for you, okay? Now you can add your name to it in 12 months.
I tell that son, bitch. Before I gave you, I used to keep a look. I used to keep a sledgehammer in the trunk. You when they say, "Can I get something out the trunk?" I tell that son, bitch.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh, I've been
my
repoed a
God.
few times. Hey, man.
Oh god, you stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, we've been on here long enough. It's been fun.
Man, y'all are fun, man.
Man, I appreciate y'all for real. I really do. So, Jarvis, Marion, those that have been listening tonight. Listen. I tried a new time tonight, and I'm gonna probably keep trying. Listen, men are a hard crowd, and I know we've done women, and we get women on, and I was even gonna bring women on tonight, but they didn't want to do for the holidays. I don't know, whatever. All good. We're gonna keep trying. We're gonna keep bringing these women on. We're gonna bring these men, and we're gonna have these good conversations with these good brothers. Jarvis, you got any parting words?
Oh man, no. Just hold on to your standards, man. Let them be exactly what they are. Originally, we talked about, you know what I mean? If you don't know what it is, then how do you know what you're looking for? So I'm just saying, just be that vision board for somebody, because somebody's always paying attention to you. Somebody sees you walking out the house. Somebody sees you walking in the classroom. You're teaching somebody. Somebody sees you raising your kids. Continue to be that. Continue to not wear the bonnets if you don't approve of the bonnets. You don't have to preach to the choir. Just be the, you know what I'm saying? Be the sermon. Be the walking sermon. That's it.
What's up, Marion?
It's everything's about what you focus on. I challenge everyone to focus about positivity. Focus on where you want to go. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. And it all starts with how you start your day. And I just want to challenge everybody, like, to really get really fired up about their dreams, fired about what they're doing on a daily basis. And you're gonna explode out of bed every day. And you're gonna be excited about not only what you're doing, but what your changes you're gonna make in the world. Because it's just not all about what you can take, but what you can give. And when you're just giving, you come full, everything comes to you. That's just what I've known on a daily basis. And that's really what I do.
Crowd noise. That's all. I tried the crowd noise. I'm sorry, my bad. I just wanted to look. I'm enjoying getting these music. But anyway, it's been good. It's been real. I appreciate you. I see my boy Mark. Mark, I need you next week. I see Mark comments. I appreciate you. But here it is. My birthday is on Thursday. So y'all make sure y'all tell me happy birthday on Thursday. And other than that, y'all gonna see my new T-shirt I got coming out. Guess what? The world is changing. My question for you is, why do you remain the same? Let that thought find the rest. Why do you remain the same? I'll check y'all out next week. Have a good night.